Um, I would say like this year, 2024, is literally the first time I've gone through nearly a full year, because the year's not quite out yet, without self-harming since I was 10. What's kind of allowed that to happen or to be a thing, and I'm not sure. A multitude of things, no doubt. But even like to last year, like still just revising my method, if you like. And as much as I'm quite open and stuff about being able to talk about it, and this is what I mean, I'm sure other people can relate. And I feel like I have a duty to be able to share this. Um, yeah, I remember even speaking to my older sister, Kaylee, saying like I would love to share my story, which is why I'm quite grateful for this. Whether this is the content you want or you may use, I don't know, but wanted to do something like this. And my sister's reaction was she didn't want me to be vulnerable. She didn't want me to share the story. And I think that's from a protective side from her. But there's a big pull in me that's like, I have a duty. There'll be people out there that'll relate. And if it helps even one person understand how they're feeling, like, and that doesn't have to be alienated. You haven't got to be ashamed. You haven't got to fully understand it even. That's fine. Then I'm grateful for that. Um,
So why now, Steve?
why now open about this? I think opportunity came up with yourself. Again, I'm not even sure if this is the content you want, but this is part of my story, so it's part of my story. I think, like I say, 2024 being the first year that I've not I've not self-harmed or anything like that. Um, Trying to understand even as to why is that. Maybe I'm stronger now, so maybe now's a good time to do it. It all came like ahead, I would say, last year. Um, and I'll be perfectly honest, like, um, as much as it's been nearly a full year, maybe it's the last month or two, like my mood's been really low. And I think it's because it's approaching, maybe it's because it's approaching like an anniversary of what I would consider like the climax of the whole saga in my mind. Um, yeah. And basically that climax was, it was Christmas Eve last year. Um, and basically like I completely lost sense of who I was. It was probably like what I experienced when I was 23 and I broke down to my mum 10 times. It, I've heard people talk about people having, like I've never previously had suicidal ideology, but it's literally all that was on my mind like last year. And like this time last year, I was like planning it basically. And it's weird to even hear myself say that now. And I think unless you've been in that state of mind, you can't fully understand that state of mind. Even I don't fully understand it, but I can just kind of describe how it was for me. And it was almost like tunnel vision, that I'm surrounded by this loving family. I have got loving people around me. And yet I felt completely alone. I felt like the best out for me and all these people around me would be me out of the picture completely. And do you know what it is? I do understand people who go, well, that's so selfish, or how can you do that? You're not thinking about the impact you're having on other people. No, you're not. Like, you're not. You're just thinking, this is the solution for me. I'm pretty sure this is probably the best option for everybody else. You're not even thinking to a deeper layer, or at least I wasn't. It was just that that's the solution. I couldn't see any other way. I was in a tunnel and there was absolutely no light at the end of it. If I could see where I am now, back then, that would have been a glimmer of light, but I couldn't even picture that. And basically it came to a climax, like I say, on Christmas Eve last year. I knew Lauren, my wife, was at work. She was on a long day. I knew that when she came in, she'd go downstairs, she'd greet the dogs. She'd be downstairs 20 minutes with the dogs before she even came upstairs. Um, yeah. Basically, we've got like this loft hatch where the bottom few steps kick away. So I had it literally all planned, laid out, and then I remember waking up on Christmas Eve. Lauren had gone to work by then, and yet I had this like massive pull of, Steve, this is not you. This is not your story. This is not how you go out. You're not going to be in other statistics. I was just like, fuck that. That is not me. That's not how I'll go out. That's not how this ends. I was playing like hypothetical conversations of, God, can you believe what happened to Hoggy? God, as if he did that. Like, you would never have thought that. I was playing these narratives in my head. And I was like, I'm not going to be that conversation. And I actually contacted a helpline and spoke to a lady called Rosie for like an hour and a half. And she was asking me things that would caught me off guard a little bit. And it was like, talk to me, give me as much detail as possible. Like, how did you plan this? Or talk me through it as if you were going to go through it. And I remember being so startled by like, what a weird thing to be asking me at this time. And yet when I was starting to voice it, I think she was obviously skilled at what she did. It made me really kind of go, that's madness. Like, no way is that going to be a thing. No way is that going to be you.
Is that because you were speaking aloud and you were actually
I think
telling
so.
this to somebody else? Because you'd only have thought about this in your own head, haven't you? You've not externalized it at all.
Completely. And I think whether she was a stranger, whether I said it out loud to myself, like, I don't know, like, if that would have been enough. But I think just literally voicing it, that's when it all kind of just hit me. And yeah, I would describe that as the climax. Basically, then after that conversation with this lady, I contacted Lauren. I kind of give her a brief description of the situation. She must have immediately contacted my sister, Danielle, because she was like, burst through my door within about 10 minutes. And she was just like, you all right? Basically, let me know that she knew the situation, but she didn't want to put any pressure on me to explain the situation. And like I say, I think from there, I made some big decisions. I've had some big changes in my life. And I don't know, maybe to answer your question of why now, why speak about this now, I feel probably stronger now from it. The first time I explained that whole story was like, it was to a group of strangers, and it felt liberating again then, even more so than this initial conversation with this lady. And it feels liberating again now, to be fair.